Live here on Facebook, and I just wanted to come on and show you a potential trade idea here in AUD CAD this morning. And guys, I'm not here to give you trading signals. So this actually isn't a valid trade idea anyway, because it doesn't meet all the conditions. But I just want to show you that. Again, not an investment advisor. Forex is a risky business. You can lose all or part of your capital, which is all why, if you're a beginner or advanced person using a new strategy, you should always start out trading on demo, right? And always consult with a investment advisor for any investment advice, and that's not me. These are for educational purposes only. I'm just showing you what our community's indicator and our company's scanner are telling us. So if you go to my Sniper Pro Scanner Overview PDF, if you need this, let me know. This is the video for the top trading plan strategy, or ATH RSI Sniper Pro on the 15-minute. Now, this is our community's top strategy. The community members like to use it on the 1-minute time frame. I don't do that. I like the 15-minute. I just don't like trading on the 1 minute. But I have the 6 conditions here that need to exist. All 6 of these conditions need to be on the alert candle, not any candles before it, not any candles after it, right? You don't include any of those candles. Everything has to exist on the alert candle in order for a trade to be valid. We have new trade management rules here, very good. I made a video explaining these as well and showing real examples from last week right here. So make sure you check that out. Anyway, today what we see here in AuDCAD is, just get rid of that. And you'll notice whenever I'm marking up the charts here and I have a potential trade idea, meaning on TradingView here, we get the ATH indicator goes off and that candle closes on the other side of the 55, in this case, above it, right? So for a buy, we need that candle to come from below the 55, which it does just slightly here. This candle does not close above the 55 here. So it comes from below and it crosses and closes above. So that's the first 2 conditions, okay? But then when we go over to JIFU, right? And again, I circle these indicators here whenever all 6 conditions are not met. That way I can go back through at the end of the day and I can look and see how many bad trades did the strategy keep me out of, and how many trades did I miss out on because of my strict 6 conditions that need to exist all on the alert candle, right? We don't count any candles before, any candles after. Now, in our community, on the 1-minute time frame, they use this strategy, but they are not as strict with their strategy. Okay, so you can look at that one as well. If you're in our community already, there are plenty of videos in the Discord channel on how to do that Michael Angel Martin makes. And this is his indicator here as well that he made for us also. So when you go over to JIFU and you look at that candle here, AUD-CAD around the 15-minute, this is the candle right here. And it is a nice blue candle, which you need. There's actually a super sniper arrow, I believe, underneath it, and a regular sniper arrow, right? That's good. Down in the sniper later, we see that there's a blue trend line, the dash line, and we see that the sniper later line is blue as well. So everything's good except for one thing, guys. Number 3 here, this is the real stickler here. So for a buy, number 3 says price was in the lower volatility bands and the close of that candle was not past the midway point. The close of the indicator candle was not past the midway point. So the issue is number 3, and number 3 is usually what the issue is. You can see here that price never gets all the way down into that first line here of the volatility band. Very hard to see here on Sniper Pro, but that line is right there. So price never gets into that area, right? It never gets down into that lower volatility band. And right here, we could see the midway point in between the bands, basically midway from the first red band of the top volatility to the first blue band of the bottom volatility bands here. There's a midway point. And we don't want this candle to close above that midway point for a buy or below it for a sell, because that means it's already too far moving in the direction we want it to move. Okay. Doesn't mean the trade's not going to work out for us. We may find that this one does, but this is the midway point right here. You could just barely see that light gray line. And it's hard to see here, but that candle does actually close above that light line. Okay. So condition number 3 here is not met. So since it's not met, I'm not going to take that trade. I circled the indicator here. That way later on, I can come back. I can go through the charts. I can look and say, oh, here was a potential trade idea, but it wasn't completely validated because of number 3. And look what happened here. Oh, it went on to win money maybe, or hey, it comes back down and loses money, right? So we'll have to see what happens later on today. But I just wanted to come on here, do this quick live to let you know that. Also, if you have the Sniper Pro Overview PDF here, if you're thinking about getting started with the strategy, because really that's the only way to test it out for yourself. You have to get started. You can try it out for 5 or 6 days, see if it's working for you. If not, you can cancel your subscription with the company, get your money back, a full refund, as long as you're within that 7-day window. So right here, there's an overview video by Brandon Boyd, a short overview video about JIFU here. And then down below, there's a brand new website that Dave Thomas made. Dave is one of our lead educators in the community. Michael A. Joe Martin, Dave Thomas, Jason Hall. So Dave made a series of videos, the most common questions answered by Dave Thomas. So if you click here, that'll take you to another website where there are several short videos just answering any questions you may have. And then, of course, right here, you can sign up and become a customer with JIFU. Okay, so let me know if you're going to do that or not. Otherwise, guys, let's have a great day. Live this morning, and I was showing you I was trying to find some trade sets for the ATS RSI Sniper Pro on the 15-minute. This is our community's go-to strategy. I'm using it as well, but I use it on the 15-minute instead of the 1 minute like the community does. And I also have some 6 strict conditions that I follow in order to take a trade, and those conditions all have to exist on the indicator candle. Can't take into account any candles before it, any candles can't after it, just the indicator candle itself. So I showed you, and what I've been showing you is, if you're watching my videos, is last week it was hard to find a losing trade. I couldn't find one. As a matter of fact, I didn't have a losing trade last week that I went over. I did find one, I think this week, and today I was, the main thing is though, guys, it's the bad trades that it keeps you out of, okay? And so this morning I was showing you this potential trade idea in OddCAD, right? So we had the ATH indicator go off here. Again, we're on the 15-minute. And this was about 10:15 a.m. this morning, right? We had the candle that closed. It came from below the 55, closed above the 55, right? So those were the first 2 conditions. When we went over to the Sniper Pro Scanner, we looked for the other 4 conditions, and 3 out of those 4 conditions were met. The one condition that wasn't met was condition number 3 here, where price was in lower volatility bands and the close was not past the midway point. This is the one condition. Whenever you have one condition that doesn't get met, what I've noticed is this number 3 is the one, right? And it's also one of the most important ones out of the 6, okay? So that wasn't met. So we said we weren't going to take this trade, but we said we were going to keep track of it for you, and I'll come back on later today and show you what happens. So that's what I'm doing here. So I circle the indicator here whenever the conditions are not met, okay? And so I also told you this morning here that there were 4 other pairs that had the exact same situation: AUD USD, NZD USD, EUR USD, and EUR CAD, right? So a total of 5 pairs had a situation where the ATH went off, right? Just like it did here in OddCAD. And I'm going to show you each one of them. But number 3 was not met, right? Price either did not come down into that lower volatility band, or the candle itself closed above the midway point. This is the most important factor that I'm finding here as I keep going over and over this trading plan and determining what the results are for it. So you can see here, we do have a video now I put out yesterday for the actual trade plan itself, right? So if you scroll down here, right, place stop loss behind recent high or low, risk 1% on all trades, go for an initial 1 to 4. At +1, you basically reduce your risk in half. Okay. At +1.5, you move the stop loss to break even. At +2, you move it to +1. +3, you move to +2, and then you let it run to +4, or you would get stopped out at +2, right? And then there's 2 situations to just exit a trade, right? The other situation would be if you don't want to hold a trade over the weekend and it's 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, which I have to put on here. But we do have a video where I go over actual trades from last week and show you how this works, okay? So, but just show you here, this is set up for a 1-to-1, okay? So we never get a 1-to-1, which means there would be no reason to move the stop loss. We're just risking 1%. And you can see here what happens. This trade starts to move up and then it drops down, and this would be a losing trade. Okay, so that's number 1. Trade number 2 was AUD USD. Okay, this one was a little bit different. This one moved up, and on this candle here, you were actually up over 1%. Okay, and when that happens, you reduce your risk in half. So instead of having your stop loss at -1%, it's at -0.5%, right? Because you're risking 1% per trade. Now, if you're a more advanced trader, you're risking 2%, then cutting this in half would put you at 1, right? So what happens is price comes back down, and you can see you get stopped out at a loss, not quite a big of loss, but it's still a 0.5% loss because you don't get to the 1.5. Okay, you have to get to 1.5 before you move your stop loss to break even. So that's 2 losses, right? 2 out of 2 right there. 2 where right here we have the indicator circled. We have the indicator. The candle closes above the 55. But when we go over to the scanner, you know, we don't meet all 4 of the conditions on the scanner. And primarily the one we don't meet is number 3, which I showed you, where price has to move into that lower Bollinger Band for a buy, but can't close above that midway point of the volatility band. They're not actually Bollinger Band, guys. I keep saying that. They call them volatility bands because it's a specific indicator created for the scanner. So you can't duplicate it on TradingView by using Bollinger Bands. Okay, the next one is EUR USD. Now this one, right now, you could see here, this shot up here. We were up 1% on that first candle after taking the trade. And so we moved the stop loss to, we basically reduce our risk in half, okay? Now, we don't get to 1.5%, right? Because that's where we have the box highlighted here. So we wouldn't have moved the stop loss to break even. So right now, this trade would be kind of like right around break even for us on EUR USD. So we would still be in that trade, okay? The other one is EUR CAD, okay? And again, we have a similar situation like that here. Okay, we're not quite, we never got up 1%, so our stop loss was never moved. And right now we're kind of like a little bit in profit, but it did move up almost about more than 0.5%, but not quite a 1-to-1 because the risk on this one was much bigger, as you could see here. So the first 2 we would have lost. The second 2 we would be in right now. with a small gain. And then the last one is NZD USD, and that one we would have lost, right? This one never got up 1%. Price came back down, and we would have gotten stopped out. So out of those five potential trade ideas, they were not validated because not all six conditions were met. Okay, so we would not have taken the trade. But what we see is that 3 out of those 5 would have lost. You would have lost money on had you taken them. And the other 2, you'd be sitting in a small game right now, but we'll have to wait and see actually how those pan out. Okay, so the strategy, guys, is the bottom line is that if you find a situation, again, you don't get quite as many trades doing this on the 15-minute because you need all 6 of these conditions to be present on that signal candle. But the trades you do get, what I find, are winning well over 90% of the time. Okay. And then the other thing is the number of bad trades that it keeps you out of is astounding. That's just an astounding number here. So that's where we're at right now on those 5 setups this morning. So it's about 7 p.m. Eastern time here. So I'm going to start looking at the charts now to see if there's anything that I can any setups, any potential trade ideas. Again, we like to call them trade ideas, not trade alerts. I don't know if I mentioned that wrong earlier or not, but any ideas that we could have to potentially get validated, right? And actually have a potential trade tonight here, then I will come back on and show that to you. Okay. But again, these videos are for educational purposes only. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not qualified to give you investment advice. You should seek out a professional for that. Just educational purposes here. I'm just telling you what the indicator and the scanner are telling us in relation to my trade plan on the 15-minute time frame. So if you want more information on JIFU, let me know and I will direct you to that immediately. Have a great night. Here, do a quick live. I wanted to show you some trades from today, and I also want to show you some trades that you would have lost, but the strategy kept you out of the trades. So hang on here tight. Don't go anywhere. Remember, I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not here to give you advice. I'm just sharing my videos with you for educational purposes only. I'm just showing you what our community's indicator and what the scanner, our company scanner, is telling us in the market every day. Okay. Forex is risky. You can lose all or part of your capital. This, again, is our top trading plan strategy. It's the one our community uses. They use it on the 1-minute time frame. I use the 15-minute, and my conditions are a little bit more strict. I have more conditions that have to be met. The community uses one that's a little bit less stringent, and all 6 of my conditions have to be met on the one candle, the candle that has our ATH RSI crossover arrow indicator on it. Okay, so these are the 6 conditions right here that have to be met. So let's show you real fast here where we're at here. Let's go through some pairs here where there were trades. So I'm looking for my blue and red flags here. So this is EURCAD. This trade, this idea went off yesterday, right? So when you're on TradingView, you see the first 2 conditions. You see the indicator, our community's indicator. That's the blue and red indicator here. Okay. And you also see, I don't know why this is on here. This was a, oh, yeah, let me fix this real fast here. Again, there was a lot of risk in this trade here, so I'm just trying to show you this, but I don't know why this is circled because this was a confirmed trade right here. So this was a confirmed trade from yesterday, and then this one was confirmed from today. Okay, so this one had a little bit more risk. So again, keep in mind that in order for you to have a risk-free trade, guys, we have to get up by 1.5%. Okay, so that's what our trade management says here, place stop loss below the recent high or low, risk 1%, go for initial 1 to 4. Now this number 4 here, this is optional. Okay, this tells you you can reduce your stop loss, you can reduce your risk in half once you're up 1%. I don't know if that's a good idea. I think it's best to just wait until you're up to you're up 1.5%. So if you're risking 1%, if you're risking 20 pips and you're up 30 pips, that's when you want to move your stop loss to break even so you don't have any more risk on the trade. When you start playing with your stop loss when you're just up 1%, you'll find a lot of times the price comes down, stops you out, and then it goes in the direction you want to go. I'll show you an example of that today. So really, we want to focus on this. When we're up 1.5, we move our stop loss to break even. And then once we're up 2%, we lock in that 1% profit. Once we're up 3%, we lock in that 2%. And then we let that trade run to either we get the full 1 to 4, the 4% gain, or it comes back down and we get out at +2. Okay, so that's the best scenario there. Okay, so keep that in mind. So here you would, if you take this trade here, and I'm not exactly sure why I had this circled, because this was a valid trade here. Usually I circle the indicators where I circle the trade ideas where you get the indicator and you get the cross of the 55. But when I go to the JIFU scanner, to the Sniper Pro Scanner, the other 4 conditions aren't met. Okay, but right now this is EURCAD. This one went off at 6:15 this morning. You could see this is already up almost 1 to 3 right now. So you would definitely be able to lock in, almost lock in that 2% gain, right? So another one here is EURGBP. This one right here, this was a confirmed trade idea at last night about 11:45 p.m. And what happens is it gets up by 1.5%. We would move our stop loss to break even. You could see it comes back and we're out of the trade at break even. And then after that, it starts kind of going up. Here we have a trade idea in the opposite direction, right? Now this isn't confirmed on Sniper Pro, so that's why it's circled. And you can see here the price continues upward, and if you had taken a trade there, you would have lost money. EURUSD, this one here. Now you can see this one here was confirmed yesterday, 10 a.m. It goes up by at least 1%. So if you reduce the risk on your stop loss by moving your stop loss to this area here, you see how it comes down, stops you out, doesn't go to the full 1% here where you initially had your stop loss, and then it continues up, and now it's up like over 2%, and you could have locked in a 1% gain on that. So that's why that's optional. I don't know if it's a good idea to do that. I don't think there's any reason to move your stop loss if you're going to still lose money if it gets hit, right? You might as well just leave it at the 1% where you're risking 1% and just leave it there. And again, if you get up by 1.5%, then you move it to break even. Okay. GBP-AUD is another one here, and I want to show you this one. You get the indicator, you get the 55 cross, but it wasn't confirmed on the Sniper Pro Scanner. And you can see how it just moves up, comes back down, probably would have stopped you out here. But then we get the new idea here that is confirmed with the scanner, and we're currently up, trying to get up to that 1.5 gain where we can move it to break even. GBP CAD, this is a trade that I'm currently in right now, right? So I want to get this up to this area right here. It'll be up 3%, and then I can lock in 2. Right now I have this locked in at 1. So my stop loss is right here at my broker. Now I took this trade. This was the first trade I took today right here off of this confirmed trade idea here, but my stop loss was so tight that it came down and I got stopped out. Okay, so I had my stop loss pretty tight there. And so here I get another confirmed trade idea here, and this one has worked out here. So hopefully I'm guaranteed to at least get my money back from the initial loss, right? Hopefully this continues moving upward and I can lock in the 2%, and then hopefully it goes all the way to a +4 up here and I have a 4% gain on it. So 4% gain, 1% loss on the initial trade gives me a total gain of 3%, right? So this is one in the NAS 100 that just went off. So there was one here that goes off. This isn't confirmed on Sniper Pro. That's why this trade idea here is circled. And this one is confirmed on Sniper Pro, but the problem is it's so late in the day that I didn't want to take it, but I did mark it up here to see what happens. Now, let me show you all these trades that I marked up here where this trade idea indicator is circled. What that means is that means here on TradingView, we get the indicator. The indicator comes out. This is our custom indicator that's only available if you're on our team. It's called the ATH RSI Crossover Arrow Indicator. Okay, so when this comes out, that's one. And then if you're buying, if it's coming from below the 55 EMA and it crosses and closes above, then that's the second confirmation. Okay, then we have to go over to the Sniper Pro Scanner and see if we get the other four. Now, what I'm going to tell you guys is this: when I go over to the scanner, what I'm seeing mostly is it's either one or two of these remaining four conditions are not met. And the one that it usually is that price didn't get into the lower volatility band for a buy or the upper volatility band for a sell. And if it did, then the candle has closed past the midway point. Okay, that's usually what the issue is. Now, sometimes the issue is that the candle itself is not the right color. So for a buy, we need a blue or gold candle. Sometimes we get a red or a gray. And for a sell, we need a red or gold candle. And sometimes we get a blue or a gray. Okay. Normally it's one of those two things, right? That's not met. Okay. And so if you're just looking for a few conditions, you get in some of these trades that you end up losing on. And this would completely negate this strategy for me. So that's why I think all 6 of these conditions are very important. And all 6 of these conditions need to exist on the trade idea candle, right? Okay. And that trade idea candle is what we see on TradingView here, where we get our indicator come out and price crosses and closes on the correct side of the 55 EMA. That's the first two, and that's very important. Now, that gives us a trade idea. Now, whether or not it's confirmed is based off of what we see on the JIFU scanner here, right? Did that get into the lower volatility band for a buy, but not close above the midway point, or did it get into the upper volatility band for a sell and not close past the midway point, right? So here's the lower bands. You can see for a buy, here's the midpoint, and here's the upper bands, right? So it needs to get into the upper bands, and then we don't want it to close past the midway point because then it's already moved too far. It's already moved too far, and we're not going to be able to get our 1 to 2, our 1 to 3, or 1 to 4 gains on, right? So keep that in mind. Now let me show you some of these charts here where we see numerous ones of these. Here's 2 right here, right? Here's a trade idea. It's not confirmed on the scanner. Price comes down, more than likely gets stopped out, right? Here's another trade idea. We don't know what's going to happen with that yet. Here's a trade idea back here. Doesn't get confirmed on the scanner. Boom, price drops down. You will have lost 1% of your account. Here's a couple of them here. Here's one here, trade idea here, moves up, doesn't get up to 1.5%, and then drops down, and more than likely you get stopped out of this right here. If not here, definitely over here. Here's another one right here. That candle just barely closes below that EMA, right? Moves down, and then it doesn't get that 1.5% gain that will enable you to move it to break even. And then right here, you get stopped out of the loss. EUR AUD. There's one on here, right here. Here's a candle. Trade idea not confirmed, moves up a little bit, drops down, you lose 1%. EUR CHF. Here's one here. There's a confirmed, there's a trade idea not confirmed. Price doesn't go anywhere and moves right up, stops you out. EUR JPY. Here's one here. Trade idea not confirmed by the scanner, right? Moves down a little bit, moves up, you lose 1%. Over and over again, guys. I can't make this stuff up. I mean, this strategy, if you require all 6 conditions to be met, and if they're not met, that trade 90% of the time ends up losing. And if they are met, 90% of the time that trade's up winning. That's what I'm seeing right now, but it's only been a couple weeks. Okay. So here's a 2 of them, right? This one, not confirmed, price moves up, stops you out. This one, not confirmed, price moves up, stops you out. Another 1%, 2% loss. GBP USD. Here's one right here, not confirmed. It moves down slightly, not enough to get you up 1.5% so that you can move it to break even, right? Let me show you. I'll show you what I mean here. If you get in here, your stop loss is here. In order to move this to break even, you got to get a move all the way down to here. You don't get it. Price comes up, stops you out, 1% loss. NZD CAD right here. Here's one right here. Trade idea not confirmed, moves up a little bit, drops down. This one would have ended up being a winning trade. So here's one that you don't take because all 6 conditions are not met. Okay. When you go to the scanner, you have the 2 here that gives you the trade idea. But when you go to the scanner, the other 4 were not met. At least one of those other 4 were not met. That's all it takes. You need all 6 of them or you don't take the trade. Okay, this one ends up being a good trade. NZD Chef, right? Here's one right here. Not confirmed. Price moves down a little bit, starting to move up. We don't know how this is going to turn out just yet. NZD USD. Here's one over here. Moves up. Keeps moving up. You don't get that 1.5% increase though. It allows you to move it to break even. Then it drops down. You lose 1%. Same thing here. You get a trade idea. It's not confirmed. Drops down. You lose 1%. Okay, so all these losing trades I'm showing you, and what? There was one trade that would have been a winning trade. Here's another one, right? Doesn't move down, comes up, stops you out, 1% loss. So all of those bad trades I've shown you where you get a trade idea, because on TradingView, you get our indicator goes off and price crosses and closes on the right side of the 55, right? If it's a buy or a blue indicator, then price crosses and closes above the 55. If it's a red indicator or ATH RSI crossover arrow strategy indicator here, if it's red, then price crosses and closes below the 55. That gives you a trade idea. In order for that to be confirmed, that's the first 2 conditions. In order for that to be confirmed, you go to the scanner, the Sniper Pro Scanner, and you look for the other 4 conditions. You have to get all 4 of them. All 6 total have to be met. If not, I just showed you how many trades are losing trades. And out of all of those, there was one trade that ended up winning that we would not have taken. I also showed you today all the trades that were confirmed that are actually winning trades right now, including one that I have on demo right here, this one right here, GBP CAD. Right, currently up about 2.5%, right, because there's a $100 risk on this. It's up about 253, 2.5%. Once it gets up 3% or $300, that's where I can lock in that $200 gain. Okay, so we don't like to talk about money here. And again, I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not telling you to take any trades. I'm just sharing this information for educational purposes only. And I'm just showing you what the indicator and the scanner is telling us. And I'm showing you that if you were to follow this strategy the way I outline it, what your results would be. Now, again, it's only been a couple weeks. I've only been doing this for a couple weeks. The results are amazing, but we have to keep doing it for a couple months here to make sure that it's going to continue producing the same results. Okay, this is it, guys. Now, if you want to try this out for yourself, what you have to do is you have to get started with JIFU. And if you scroll down here in the PDF file, and if you don't have this PDF file, guys, just let me know. There's a video down here, which is a overview of JIFU by Brandon Boyd. Short video here you can watch. My friend and one of the community leaders, Dave Thomas, has made a website here. If you click on his image here, you'll go to the website where he answers all the different questions people have about JIFU. Let's just click on it and I'll show you. Okay. He has videos here, short videos, answering all the questions. Most commonly answered questions: will I get support? Educational platform, our popular strategy and scanner, idea apps drop to your phone, higher time frame trading with the 71 entry model, right? All kinds, traders mindset, masters club, interviews with Simon, interviews with Jill, join the community, all kinds of videos there if you need more information, right? And then of course, right below that is the link here to get started as a customer. Now, the reason why I say this is that you don't want to take my word for this, right? You want to try this out for yourself, okay? We'll show you how to get a demo account very quickly if you don't have one already, right? That's where you're trading with paper money. You're not real, fake money. You're not using your real money to take the trades. You're getting fake money on a demo account. Okay, you'll try this out. You'll be able to try it out for 5-6 days. If you're not getting the results that I'm showing you here, then you can cancel your membership and the company will give you a full refund, as long as you're within the 7-day refund window. But I'm telling you guys, you're going to keep this forever because it works. It just flat out works. So if you're ready to get started, let me know, and I'll make sure you have this PDF file, or I'll make sure you have the link. Okay, have a great day, guys. Take care. Because I wanted to show you what just happened in this trade I had open here with UBPCAD. So one of the trade management rules, if we go over here, are you need to exit the trade if you get a scorecard candle in the opposite direction. Okay, now number 9 is exit trade if you get a alert. This should say a trade idea. This should actually say a confirmed trade idea in the opposite direction. And then exit the trade if you get a scorecard candle in the opposite direction. So remember, this trade here with, where are we at here, GBPCAD, that I took today, I showed you how I was trying to get this to go, right, to the +3 here so that I can lock in a +2. Now, it already went through the +2, and so I had the stop loss moved up to this line right here at my broker for a +1 gain. So I may have reacted a little too quickly here, but here's what happened here. So, and you could see here the price is now coming back. So what happened is, if you look at the JIFU scanner here, GBPCAD, the Sniper Pro Scanner, you see that on this candle here, we do get a scorecard candle going the opposite way, okay? Now the candle itself ends up being a gray candle, which isn't, it kind of isn't a great sign telling you the price is going to reverse. And of course, the trend hasn't changed down here, but you do have the bearish retest on the sniper later. You got the red sniper later line. You have 2 crossover dots, and you have this big D here, which is divergence. Whenever you see this divergence, this is real-time divergence. And this is one of the only scanners that has this. But that tells you that if price has been moving up, look for this to correct downward. Okay. So when I seen this scorecard candle and I seen this real-time divergence, remember I was up about 2.5% here. I decided to get out. So I got out with a 2% gain. And so, like I told you before, I had lost 1% earlier this morning. And so the 2% gain on this gives me a total gain of 1% right now for the day. Okay. So I'll be up 1% going into the Asian session tonight. Now this may end up just going back up again, but I just couldn't trust it. Okay. I got the scorecard candle. Like I said, I seen the scorecard candle here on Sniper Pro. I seen the divergence. I seen the bearish retest. I seen all these crossover dots here. And yeah, that was just enough to tell me, because I had lost the trade earlier today. See, there's all these things that are going to go into your decision to get out of the trade. Now, I followed my rules, right? Because it clearly states here, exit trade if you get a scorecard candle in the opposite direction. So I followed the rule. I didn't break my rules, but we'll see how this turns out for us, because this could very well just continue going up, get to that +3 where I could have locked in +2 and let it run all the way to a +4. So we'll have to see how this ends up for us. But the reason why I show you my broker chart is because you could see the triangles here where I got in and out of the trade. So I got in the trade right here, 7:15. I got stopped out of the loss at 8:15. I got back in at 8:45. And now up here, you can see the red diamond. I got out of the trade. I sold it up there just now. So it looks like this candle may rebound and it may continue going back up. But when I seen this big drop here, and I went over to the scanner and I seen that scorecard candle and I seen this big D here for divergence, that scared me out of the trade. So I didn't break my rules, because my rules clearly state to exit the trade if I get a scorecard candle in the opposite direction, which I got. Okay, so I didn't break the rules, but I may have left some money on the table with this trade, but I did lock in a 2% gain, so I'm happy about that. And then we'll look forward to the Asian session here. But just so you guys know, what I'm going to do here is I have all these short Facebook Live videos here on my Facebook page. And what I end up doing is, what I'll do here shortly is I'll take all these short videos, I'll combine them into one big video, and I'll then post that on my YouTube channel, and that will be on the Sniper Pro playlist. Okay, guys, any questions? Just get back to me here. Have a great day.